TRT World's defence and political analyst Oubai Shahbandar joins me now on set. Thanks so much for joining us. Now, how significant and surprising are these offer of talks by Yemen's ex-president Saleh?
Well, we've seen an astounding turn of events as of this morning in Yemen, what could potentially be yet another popular uprising in Sanaa, the Yemeni capital, where Ali Abdel Saleh, the former president of Yemen, who had once been allied with the Houthi militia forces in the fight against the Saudi-led coalition in Yemen, is now potentially willing to make a deal. We're seeing some remarkable footage coming from Sanaa of local civilians tearing down Houthi posters and the Houthis in retaliation threatening physical violence against Saleh's forces. Now, what could this mean? On one hand, we're hearing from local Yemenis that this is more not necessarily a reaction to Saleh's call for an uprising against the Houthis, as much as it is local Yemenis who've had enough with the Houthis, who still control 30% of Yemen. We've seen some conciliatory language from Ali Abdel Saleh to the Saudi-led coalition. In return, the Saudis and the coalition have indicated that they are willing to negotiate with Ali Abdel Saleh. Whether or not this actually leads to a deal, it's still too early to tell.
Talk to me a bit more about that reaction from the Saudis and also the reaction from the Houthis. I know they've called this a potential coup.
Well, one of the major reasons that the Saudis give for intervening in Yemen in 2015 was the fact that Ali Abdel Saleh and the Houthis teamed up to overthrow the currently recognized president of Yemen, Abdel Hadi, who is supported by the Saudis and the Saudi-led coalition. So, interestingly enough, the Saudis viewed Saleh and the Houthis as a common enemy. And so the fact that the Saudis are indicating publicly that they're willing to negotiate with Abdel Saleh if he stops the missile strikes from the Houthis, the cross-border attacks against Saudi Arabia. In fact, we just saw just a few weeks ago some long-range missile attacks targeting the Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, and just a few months ago, missiles fired toward the holy city of Mecca and Jeddah. So it seems that Riyadh is willing to make a deal if Ali Abdel Saleh is able to gain control of the capital. The Houthis are very much indicating that they are going to fight. We're seeing sporadic fighting throughout Sanaa and throughout the areas around Sanaa. So it seems here that we may have a combination of Ali Abdel Saleh turning the tables against his former allies, while at the same time there seems to be a genuine popular uprising by the Yemenis living in Houthi-controlled areas against the Houthi forces. Hopefully, at the end of the day, this leads to some sort of deal that will end the fighting in Yemen. Let's not forget 10,000 people have already been killed, over 50,000 injured, and millions are at risk of starvation because of the airport in Sanaa and the major port, Hodeidah, are still blockaded. So hopefully, if the silver lining here is, if Ali Abdel Saleh is able to make a deal with the Saudis, this may finally end the blockade and bring much weighted relief for millions of Yemeni civilians.
And how likely is this?
Well, right now, it's really too early to tell. The Houthis are very heavily armed. They have a significant amount of weapons that they've captured in Yemen. And let's not forget, the Iranians have also shipped a significant amount of weapons to the Houthi forces. On the other hand, Ali Abdel Saleh has a major following in Sanaa and the areas around it. And it also all comes down to who will the Yemeni tribes support at the end of the day. That tribal support is crucial for the Houthis to maintain power. And it seems that some of the tribal leaders have heeded Ali Abdel Saleh's call to overthrow the Houthis. So I think we're going to see some violent clashes between the Saleh forces, the Yemeni tribes, and the Houthis. And that will ultimately determine the outcome of how this incredible turn of events in Sanaa will conclude.
Okay, thanks so much for that analysis, Oubai Shahbandar. Thanks so much.